Hey, what's cracking? Hope this video finds you doing well. I hope that everything, my friend, is going your way. I would like to thank you for clicking on the video. If you've never watched one before, my name is Ricky Dye, and I went to prison in Oklahoma when I was 15 years old for murder. Me and a couple kids decided we were going to run away from home. Thought my mom didn't love me, and then she spent the next 20 years proving to me that she did. I made a terrible mistake. I never should have been there. Never should have done what I done. But we don't get do-overs in our life. I don't get a chance to go back and say, "Well, I messed that up. I want to do that again." So we have to pay for the consequences for that, for our actions. And I take full responsibility for my actions. Don't blame anything that happened to me on anyone but myself. I made all the decisions that got me where I went. And so I can't change any of those things, but what I can do is share it all. I share it all in the hopes that some other kid sees it, or some other young person, or any person sees these videos that is thinking about doing something that may wind you up in prison. Whether it's anger issues or because you're up against it financially, whatever the issue is that's causing you to think about doing something that will end you up in prison, I hope that you watch this video and the other videos I've put up. And I hope that they sway you and keep you from doing something to make your life harder for you. And that's what my videos are about. And so you'll enjoy them best if you'd like to watch, if you'll start at the beginning, because that's where I started when I was 15. What led me to be at that store that night, to commit that crime when a man lost his life? What happened that night? And what it was like to be certified as an adult and sent to prison with grown men, and what it was like to grow up in prison, raised by criminals. So yeah, to get that education, more or less, to learn. I wasn't a criminal when I went to prison. I was a kid who made a mistake. But once I got there, I learned to be a criminal. And that's my videos are about. That maybe if you think your life is rough, maybe you'll listen to some of my videos and realize that your life is a lot better than what you think it is. But you'll enjoy them best if you'll start at the beginning, because I've told the story like a series. I've told it as it happened for the most part, although I do jump around in my story from time to time. Today's video, I'm going to start right back in my story. I'm at Holdenville. I've been telling you about it. I've figured out a way. If you've watched the last few videos, I've figured out a way, and I'm sneaking in. Starts off tobacco. It's all I had the money for. I could send my family up to the smoke shop with $50 and get me 3 cans of top. That's 24 pouches. Have them get me 10 rolls of dip. That's $50. Back then it was 5 cans of dip, $5 a can. Get them in there, they're $50 a can once I get them in. And so I'm doing this, and I'm running football tickets, and man, I am the man on the yard. Everybody wants to be my friend. I can kind of decide what happens here and there. So these guys think about beating that guy up, I can go and talk to him and say, "Hey man, I appreciate it if you didn't mess with that guy." And they'll leave him alone, because everyone wanted to be my friend because I had all this tobacco. So I wanted to tell you a story, some crazy shit that happened while I was doing this. So I was in A South, but in A North, I had a friend named Kenny. Big Kenny's passed away now. He had a cirrhosis of the liver and hepatitis C, and he died from his liver. But he was a big old white boy, big old bald-headed white boy, and he had a frown on his face all the time. Wasn't all muscled up or nothing, just a big old guy, like 6'5", 6'6", huge, way bigger than everyone else. So, you mean, he sticks out. And this is the guy that's getting the crank in on the yard. And I told you what I would do is I would go around and find out from people who get drugs in. I'd go and find out what kind of tobacco products they liked. If they wanted cigarettes, if they wanted dip or whatever. Well, Kenny liked dip. And every week he would have to make a deal with me to get him a couple cans of dip. And so we made a deal. He made me a deal. He said, "I got some dope coming in. I got an ounce coming in. I'm going to sell you an ounce for $500. What kind of deal will you give me for $500? So the deal we ended up making was to give him 10 cans of dip, which is 500. And then I threw in 3 pouches too, extra. He was going to take the pouches and sell them, get canteen. He's going to keep them 10 cans of dip and dip them. And just give me an 8-ball when he got his dope. And an 8-ball in prison, a quarter paper on the streets is $100 paper in prison. And you say, "Well, what a quarter paper? What is a quarter paper?" Well, a quarter paper is called a quarter paper because it's a quarter of a gram. Okay? An 8-ball is 3.5 grams, and a quarter paper is is a quarter of a gram. So you can get 4 quarter papers out of a gram. You get 3.5 grams in an 8 ball. So you get 14 quarter papers. But in prison, that's $1,400 papers. And so I'm thinking, shit, I could take 10 cans of dip that cost me $50 and 3 pouches a top. So altogether, I'm spending like $60 in on this 8 ball. And I can give people like 3 papers for $200 and make me a lot of money. I can make $1,000 off that shit, off that top and stuff. So that's my plan. So I'm making this deal, dude. And I give them all 10 cans of top, 10 cans of dip. And it wasn't little cans, you know, it's too hard to get it in like that. This shit's coming in a manila envelope. The top is just dumped in there, smashed as hard as you can, a whole envelope full of top. And then they've got another envelope and filling up, putting dip in there and little novelty items, whether it's a cell phone or one time I got a lock blade. I only risked that one time because that lock blade back then, they would give you 5 to 20 years for that knife. Whenever I had dinner with Shadow the other day, I believe it was him that told me they're not giving out time for knives no more. That's just a write-up. It was Shadow told me that. He's a guard in the DLC system now. When I was in, if you got caught with a damn shank, you're getting 5 to 20 for it if you're on some yards. I got lucky the yards I got caught with shanks, I didn't get no time. But back then, you could get 20-year sentence for getting caught with a knife. So you better really need one to be holding on to it. But Shadow said they're not doing that anymore. That's not even a Class X write-up. He said it's only a Class A write-up. So they've changed things now. He says now if you get a write-up, you lose all your good time. But if it isn't violent, you can get it back. So things have really changed now. But back then, getting caught with a knife would get you 20 years. So I wasn't risking having my family carrying a knife in there in case they got caught. Which wasn't my family. It was someone that was coming with Shelly, putting it up in there for me. You know, this other person that's visiting my homeboy. So I make this deal with Kenny, and he gets his dope in. Okay, now I bring him in there, and like I told you, this wasn't in cans of top, man. It was a gallon, a Ziploc gallon baggie with all those cans of top just dumped in there, and then double, triple the baggie up so you wouldn't open it. It would stay fresh, like 3 big old baggies, and it's just full of dip in there. And I go give Kenny the big old thing of dip, 3 pouches of top, and then he gets his dope. Gets his dope on Saturday, but it's at the end of the day. And like I told you, you're locked in your day room all day. There's no way to get from one day room to the other day room unless they happen to let you out on your little yard for a few minutes. And that just as staff allows. So that might happen a couple times a week. Other than that, I can't get over there and see Kenny unless we're at chow time because his unit either go right before my unit or right after my unit. So whichever one of us go first, we just hang out in chow hall to talk to each other. So go to chow to get my dope, go down there and get my 8-ball, we get in chow, and then Kenny's high as a motherfucker. He didn't even want to come to the chow hall. He's in chow hall. His eyes are all fucking big. The only reason he come down there is because he don't have my shit. He can't give it to me. So what's happened is it came in the night before, and they all divvied it up over there in the other day room. You're supposed to bring it to me this morning. This morning, no one brought it to me. He sent word he'd holler at me at lunch. Now, here it is at lunch. He's in there high with me, high as a motherfucker. He didn't want to come out, but he had to explain it to me that he's given it to this young guy over here to hold. And this guy's keistered it and can't get it back out. So when we get back from chow, they have us out on our little rec yard. So now we're all out there. You get like an hour or two, just stand outside the unit. You can go in and out of your unit, but you're just locked in this little fence. You can't go anywhere else. You're just out there with the pod next door. So now 126 people times 2. And we're all in this, just in our day rooms. A lot of people don't even come out. But I'm out there. Kenny's out there. We come back from lunch. And he's got this kid out here. And this kid's real high, too. And he's real high. And man, he's put it in his ass. He can't get it out. He can't get it pulled. I said, have my homeboy go in there. He's been trying to help him get it out with the ink pen and stuff. He can't get his fingers in there far enough. He tried the ink pen. Said, brother, you want to go help him? I said, what? No, I don't want to. I looked over at this kid, and he looks at me like he'll do it if I want to. I'm like, no, I do not want to help. You put it in there, it will eventually come out. Shit, I'll get it when it comes out. So I eventually did get it, but I damn sure wasn't going to help him get it out. So you have to be careful, though, when people sneak drugs in prison. So if you guys, I don't know if you watch, and I'm not, hey, Paramount Plus does not sponsor these videos. And neither does the Mayor of Kingstown. But there's this show I've been watching on there. It's called Mayor of Kingstown. And the reason the guy's called the mayor is because he goes around and he's the middleman between all the prisoners and the gangs and the police and the prison guards. 7 prisons in this little town. It's a crazy ass show about prison and all. It's completely unbelievable. The shit could never happen. Shit like that never happens the way it does on that show. But it's very entertaining. And if you'll go watch the very last episode that just played, 3rd season, I think it's episode 2. They have a thing in there where these guys are sneaking in drugs, and this girl has put these balloons in an M&M bag and slid them to the guy, and he swallowed them. Well, he ends up dying from swallowing them because one of them bust on him, and the dope was bad or something. But if you'll go watch that episode, that little part there is almost identical to the way I got my dope in for those killers, the way I got that crank in for those killers in McAllister. Brother didn't want my mom bringing it in, so he put it in an M&M, peanut M&M bag, and had 7 balloons in there, a gram in each one, 2 8-balls that I was bringing in for those killers. And he had it behind his belt buckle because they pat search them and walk them through a metal detector coming through. And he went and got me some M&Ms and slid them suckers over there, and I just sat there with a guard 5 foot from me. I sat there swallowing them. And when I got back to the unit, they had me, the way I threw them up was they had me drink this big ass thing of warm water with mustard in it. Oh my God, it was so hard to drink that shit. And once I drank this big old quart of fucking mustard juice down, I had to jump up and down. And that shit, when I threw up, they put a piece of newspaper in the toilet. Because if not, the force of your vomit can shoot them things right around under there and you lose them. So you line the toilet paper with newspaper or paper towels or something, and jump up and down, and there it all come out. But you have to be very careful doing that, because when I was over at Lexington, I had a Mexican partner, man, and he was bringing in cocaine by swallowing. And he was doing it week after week. But then one week, man, they busted on him. And he was over there running fever, and he got real hot, and he was getting sick. And I asked him, man, I told him, take him to medical, but he was too afraid of getting his girl in trouble and didn't go to medical, and he died, man. And then he died. So whatever you're doing in your life today, I hope that you're watching this video purely out of entertainment purposes to see what prison is like, to hear the stories. I hope that there's no chance of you doing anything that will land you in prison. But if you're doing shit you shouldn't do, man, if you're taking pills that don't belong to you, if you're doing dope, you're doing deals with your homeboys, and you're doing anything that can end you up in prison, man, let me tell you that your life would get way worse than it is today. I don't know what you've got going on in your world today, but if you've got time to sit and watch this video, you're doing a lot better than you'll be doing if you go to penitentiary. And so that's what my videos are all about, man. I try to tell these little stories and hope they're entertaining for you. But let me tell you, when you're up in that penitentiary and someone that you love dies and you can't go see them, someone is ill, you know they're going to pass away and you can't get those last few little bit of time. Those things are serious, man. And they're life-changing, and you cannot go back and fix it. So don't let anyone make you do something to make it worse on you, man. Don't fucking do it, brother. It ain't worth it, no matter what you're thinking about doing. The video's kind of short today. I have a longer one coming up, but I just wanted to put something up. I meant to put one up yesterday. I was going to put it up yesterday evening. And I want to give a shout out to Ben Seaborn, because man, he must have a direct life, man. Like, I wonder if he knows how I'm thinking or something sometimes, because it seems like I will really be up against a wall, not knowing what I'm going to do. I'll be praying for something to work out for me, and this guy just seems to know and sends me help. It's like I really believe that God's put him in my path. I don't know what is planned for me, but I do think that there's something planned for me. I think that I'm doing this for a reason. I felt called to do this. That's why I tell people this isn't about money for me. This is something that I feel it's on my heart for me to share, because I believe that some kid somewhere could benefit from it. And that's why I do it. But Ben Seaborn, he makes it possible for me to stay. Thank you, brother. You know what you've done for me. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to the riders and dyers. The riders who ride till the wheels fall off. The dyers keep riding even when they do. Love you guys. I want to give a shout out to John Doe. If you haven't checked out his channel yet, give him a little support, man. But if you need some work done down there in Idabel on your plumbing, Straight Flush Plumbing. If you need some pest control in Oklahoma, DOA Pest Control, dead on arrival. You need construction work done anywhere in the United States. I don't care what it is you need done. I don't care if you need to set up a shop in the mall or if you want a pool put in out in the backyard. Whatever the construction job is, you hit up Mid-America Construction. Mid-America Construction. If you Google it, he's got 3 or 4 different things that you can call to do depending on what you need done. But he's going to get it done, and it's one of the best men I've ever met in my life. Most honest. You're going to get a good deal. I'm telling you, if you need construction work done, you're calling anyone else, you're making a mistake. I don't tell lies. I don't get on there and say it for nothing. I'm not being sponsored. I'm telling you, if you need construction work done, hit up Ben. He's the man. Until the next video. Hey, before I go, I want to update you guys. I told you my mom was going in for surgery on Monday. She got up there, and they told her that her lungs were so weak that she would likely need a ventilator coming out of the surgery. And that hospital did not have an ICU, and she may need to go to ICU after the surgery because she's weak and of her age. So they're either going to have to get her to a different hospital, or they're going to send her to a lung specialist on the 28th, a pulmonologist. And I don't know if they're going to try to strengthen her lungs, or if there's some medicine, or set up a different hospital or whatever. But my mom's just been sitting over there broken back for 3 months. She can use your prayers. And Ben, she said, when's your wife can call and pray for her? So I want you guys to know that my mom is very religious. She believes more in prayer than she does in doctors. So if you say a little prayer for my mother, she will believe that it will really help her out, and I appreciate it. And I hope that God may bless, keep, and protect you and your family until I see you again. Peace out.